Alright, so here's one of my first non-NECA, non-Predator reviews in a while. Non-Star Trek reviews in a while. Seems like I've been messing with those things forever. Finally got Green Goblin in. Wasn't going to get him because I was really happy with my Marvel Legends. But I've been buying the Select, and it's like, I haven't got a Spider-Man, the Select Spider-Man yet. But gotta get a Venom. I just got a Rhino. So I'm like, may as well do all the Spider-Man classic characters, all the Sinister Six and all that. So, kind of picking up these like every once in a while whenever I sell some stuff. So, thanks to the selling of the Abomination out of the Marvel Legends line, I was able to get Green Goblin and Rhino. And actually, part of the proceeds, thank you Electric Detonator, for my Marvel Legends Rhino, went to the new Rhino. So, pretty cool. This guy looks awesome in the box. The one thing I don't really care for was the fact he has no pupils. Which, I'm trying to remember in the comics, but yeah, he had pupils. Don't know exactly what happened. I don't know if it's just because they used a specific piece of art. I mean, here he's got pupils, sort of, but they're kind of obscured and kind of covered with almost a glare, kind of a glossy kind of thing going on. Not exactly sure. Like even in the artwork down here, you can see the little pupils, the little bitty black pupils. Yeah. So, and if you remember the Stephen King movie Maximum Overdrive, it had the big Green Goblin or Goblin-shaped mask on that one truck, and it had pupils. So, I don't know if it's just an oversight or what. There's a good chance I'm going to use a Gundam marker, or I got some Rapido pins, and I'll draw in little tiny black pupils. I mean, just be like a dot. As long as it's a nice, sharp, circular dot in there, it'll be fine. So, I have to practice on some cardboard and everything and get my dot just right, and I'll have to maybe put a pencil mark in there where the middle is. But anyway, probably going to give this guy pupils. Dig the packaging, like the green Spider-Man stuff in the background there. All the stuff is cool. He's got his satchel. He's got a couple of pumpkin bombs. He has an interchangeable hand with a pumpkin bomb attached, it looks like. Looks like he has decent articulation, but it looks like the Marvel Legends has him beat a little bit already. I do like the satchel a little bit better, so I might just take this guy. I'm not sure if I'll display him or not, if I have room, depending on how his stand works. I may display him. But then my little actual part of my little spider family might be the Marvel Legends Green Goblin, but I'll put the satchel on him because it looks like the satchels are pretty close in size. Anyway, next thing is going to get this guy out of the box. And check him out. Plus mine's bent a little bit, so it needs to come out of the box. Can't just leave that in there with a messed up box like that. So, yep. Let's open this guy up and check him out. Green Goblin out of the package. This guy is awesome. He is really cool. Really glad I got him. I'm not sure if he's going to be my replacement for the Marvel Legends old school Green Goblin, but he might be. The only one thing that has, well, two things he has going against him. Actually, has more going against him compared to the other one, but get to that in a minute. But one thing I'm not really cool with is, okay, the pupils, okay. I got my yellow Gundam marker standing by. I got some Rapido things standing by. So if it turns out good, then I'll probably put some stills in here if I do it right away. If I don't do it right away, then maybe later on I'll just do like a Marvel Select, little gallery kind of thing and show you all my Marvel Selects. But one thing I'm not really cool with is the fact the glider doesn't remove from his little stand there. So that kind of sucks. It's a cool little glider too. But yeah, it just does not come off. The satchel's nice, has like nice soft rubbery stuff there. He looks great on the glider. I haven't swapped out the hands yet, but he does come with another hand with another pumpkin. Pumpkin. Be really cool to put like an LED in here somehow, but it's probably not gonna happen. I don't have that kind of skill. I was kind of hoping that the pumpkin would detach, but it's glued in there, so. Not gonna mess up the pumpkin, but there it is. There it is. Still cool. So let me get him off his glider, and we'll check out his articulation and scaling and all that stuff, and see what else we got going on there. All right, here he is off the glider. I swapped out the hands to see how it fit in there. Here's his little fist. Nice little... I mean, the one thing that I can say the Marvel Selects do almost flawlessly are the washes. I mean, it's such a subtle wash. Brings out all the little sculpting details. It's awesome. I mean, a lot of times you get stuff on the Marvel Legends that's just kind of muddy. Like I'll use Spider-Man's neck there if it'll focus. It's kind of muddy, just a little bit too much on there. I'm kind of afraid to hit it up with any kind of solvent to get it off the surface for fear of it dragging it out of the grooves and stuff. But like the wash on here is flawless. I mean, you get all the sculpted detail on the fist. You get like the nice lines in there. It's awesome. His chest has it. The satchel has it. Everything has it. But it's nice and subtle the way it's supposed to be. One thing they did with the paint on the green, I guess, armor, the male armor, is they did like an undercoat of green, dark green, with a lighter coat of metallic, lighter green. And it looks really good. It turns out really well. The washes on his face are awesome. I mean, the paint job on this is just brilliant. The satchel comes off pretty easy. You just gotta put this arm up this way and then pull the satchel over the head and then over the arm, and then it's off. Let me look at it real quick. But it's a nice rubbery material. A little bit of stretch with it. Seems like it's not the kind that's gonna rot. Just I wouldn't put it next to, like on display he'll be fine, but if you bag it up, I put this in a separate bag because I've had this kind of plastic stick to other plastic and peel the paint off before. I don't have something in the plastic or the paint they use on the plastic, but just in case, I would be careful when packing this guy away. Now, as far as articulation goes, he's got a nice ball-jointed head, but it is a little limited due to the stocking hood thing he's got going on there. Nice little squiggly line. This is a hard plastic, so this would put an eye out. I mean, it's got a nice little point on there, so that would definitely ruin some little kid's day. He does have a waist swivel, just a simple cut swivel. He's got the pseudo ball type shoulders, which aren't out of proportion. A lot of times you get these huge balls on their shoulders, which it looks like my Marvel Legends may suffer from that a little bit. He does have a single point ball swivel, what we'll call that, right there. And he's got a swivel wrist on both arms. Now he's got not the big Marvel ball, but he has like a ball joint inside there. So you get a pretty good range of motion. You saw him on the glider, he was pretty cool. A single point knee swivel, which is good. It's nice and clicky, so it's going to support his weight on that glider. He does have a swivel, the crazy cool Marvel Select swivel on the ankle with a nice little pivot on there too, which doesn't have a huge range of motion, but it does help. And that's really it. And that's one of the parts where he kind of suffers. It's fine he doesn't have the waist articulation, because like my face-off Hulk here is, he doesn't have either, and that's for the sake of the sculpt. He looks great. I mean, the only things I can complain about him are the fact that he didn't come with, if this guy had swappable hands, like he had a pair of fists, he'd be perfect. I mean, there's nothing I could say against him. He's like the perfect size. Love the sculpt. Colors are perfect. Paint is almost perfect. He's almost like a mini Marvel Select just on his own. But yeah. So the ab crunch on the Goblin doesn't bother me. He does not have a swivel in the boots, which would have been really easy to make a cut swivel in the boots. And Marvel Select, from what I've seen, they just don't do that. It would be nice to have that on the Juggernaut too, but with the way the swivels work with the ankles, it's not too bad. Now, just to compare him with the regular Marvel Legends Green Goblin, here he is on his little glider. And his is on this cool stand, which, that's one thing I would have liked to have seen too. I would have liked to have seen them, which while I really dig this will be like a dual review actually. But like since I really dig the stand, the glider, I just wish the wings had been up a little bit, or been articulated, but they work. I have to look through some of the comics or whatever and just see where they got that design for such a droopy glider. But it kind of works. It may have been viewed as a necessity to get the boots in there. And I dig the stand. I just wish it had a stand that was like this one, like a hybrid. Like, you know, it was up like this, but it was to smoke. And the same thing with that one. I wish it had more of an upright attitude and was removable, because this one just pops right off the stand, and you can just fly this guy around. I got a Marvel Universe Green Goblin too. Now, his pumpkin is not removable either. We'll just go over his articulation in comparison. But he's got the same, he's got a ball joint for the head. Well, it's kind of like a ball. It has like that pivot and swivel thing. It has like the regular ball jointed shoulders, which his are kind of disproportionate compared to the other ones. The other ones look a lot more natural. Has a double point elbow, which is in his favor, but it does kind of sacrifice the sculpt. But since it's all one color, it doesn't look that bad. He does have a nice, it's not really clicky, but it does have a nice ab crunch, which kind of helps out in some of the poses there on the glider, as well as the waist swivel, and it's clicky. He does have the Marvel Ball crotch joint, but it's all nice and clicky. It's got a upper thigh swivel, 2-point articulation in the knee, a cut swivel for the top of the calf, or boot, whatever. He has a pivot ankle, and he also has a pivot toe, and he has like huge goblin-looking boots. The other boots, they're okay. The select boots are alright. And they go, okay, it's Green Goblin, we'll give him pointy boots. And they just kind of left it there. But the Marvel Legends said, we must have Goblin boots! And they just went full-on Goblin boots on him. Now, his satchel is done in purple. Sure is a little cost-saving thing. Let's see if I can't pop it off here real quick. Oh, and additionally, even his hand was gripping the pumpkin, which I like the metallic pumpkin. I kind of wish the other pumpkins were this way, so if I can get to hold a focus there. His fingers are articulated, but the pumpkin doesn't come out, so I'm sure I could cut it off if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. And he does have a wrist bend. His hands articulated at the fingers, and he's got the swivel wrist. So the cut joints in the wrist and the calves are really something that Marvel does really well. But unfortunately, the balls on the upper thigh and the shoulder balls typically, respectively, make it difficult and are kind of disproportionate. And I do like the way they did the head sculpt a little bit better on this guy. He's got more of a classic Green Lantern kind of look to him. He has like the stocking is behind him, so you put him on that glider, this guy is flying, Now, as far as scaling, you can tell that the Select, of course, is bigger by about a head. But with my McFarlane era super articulated best Spider-Man figure in a while, it doesn't look that bad with the Select Goblin. I mean, he's a little bit taller than the Marvel Legends one, but he's not, I don't know, that could work. I mean, for me, Spider-Man's always been like that teenager, college age kind of kid, so maybe he hasn't quite reached his full height. And you've got, juiced up Norman Osborn here, and if he's a little bigger, that's fine. For me, that's perfect scaling for me. I like seeing my bad guys bigger than the good guys, in this context anyway. It's Peter Parker, a normal guy with, gives him something to overcome. And for me, I don't even really, it doesn't really bother me. On the scale that Hulk is on, he's huge, and you want to see Spider-Man fighting a huge Hulk, So, but yeah, for me, looking at them side by side, I mean, if I could swap heads, and if I could swap pumpkins, and you know what? If I could just scale this guy up, put his paint job on this guy, leave him with his metallic pumpkin, swap the head sculpt. Well, actually, I like the head sculpt, but like the hoodie thing, maybe even swap the head sculpt. I don't know. This is a little more extreme. And the boots on this guy, then that'll be my perfect Marvel Select. And maybe make him just like somewhere in between. This has got like almost like a full head. It's like maybe a half head taller than he is. And that for me would be perfect. So, they're both about a 9.0. I really like the face sculpt on both of them. This is probably more like a cartoonish kind of look to it, and then This guy has more of a crazy, realistic, if you remember the Marvel Masterpiece collector cards, the painted cards, that's what that guy kind of reminds me of. And I just wonder how his satchel would fit on here. That's not bad. I like that. I like the brown satchel a little bit better. That's pretty cool. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I bet though that this guy ends up being the one I end up putting on the shelf. But I don't know. We'll see if I get a Marvel Legends. A Marvel Select Spidey, and then we'll see. Yeah. So Marvel Legends, I'll give it a 9.0. Could have been a little bit better. I mean, they sacrificed a lot of the sculpt for articulation, which is fine. But it does have a really good sculpt, a really nice, clean, crisp paint job compared to some of the muddied up washes that I've seen on some other figures. So he's a good 9.0. And then same thing for him, but for different reasons. He has a better paint job, probably a slightly better sculpt, but then he doesn't have quite the articulation. So that's worth a point. Maybe half a point, and then half a point for the glider not being removable and just kind of, it's okay. I think I would have liked the glider a little bit better if it had been removable, but that would have made him like a 9.5. So still not bad. Is he a must-have? You know what? I'd say get one or the other. You know, if you're really like the Marvel Select guys, the larger scale figures, definitely go with him. And if you're kicking it with the Marvel, old school Marvel Legends, and you want somebody to go with your current figures, and you see this guy, pick him up. I think he's definitely better for play because you can remove his glider and all that. He has a little bit better articulation. And they cost about the same. They're about $20. So I just saw this guy on loose, complete, minty mint, fresh out of the box, $20. This guy, $20. So can't really go wrong. They both get like a double thumbs up. Good 9.0. Awesome figures. Hex isn't killing them today, so they must be good. So yeah, if you don't have one, get one, or this one, or that one, or this one. I don't care. They're both awesome. Alright, just want to show these guys one more time there, both of them on their things. And I swapped out the satchels. His, of course, is ridiculously small. And this one actually looks pretty good. And I'm able to actually get it kind of draped behind him, so it definitely looks like he's like doing some high-speed goblining there. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, really pleased with these guys. So yeah, it looks like that the Marvel Legends might win the shelf battle, just because the articulation is a little bit better. I can get in a little bit better poses. And this one, he's just kind of funky. It's like, he gets on there and he looks good. He's kind of like a standing, kind of crouch on one side. You can get him in pretty good pose. But then him, you get him on there, he looks great from the front. But from the side, it just doesn't look quite right. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Just the stance kind of killing this guy for me. But it looks cool, Just that I'm sure if you're like below looking up, like if you were on a top shelf, he'd look kind of funny. All you see is like a ton of glider. But from like straight on, this angle right here, he looks great. Just it could have done a little bit better job of articulation, especially with the extreme nature of how this guy is usually on his glider and stuff. And for that matter, the glider could have been a little bit better. So not bad. While the sculpt is basically true to the character, his articulation kind of fails him a little bit. So still not bad. Still a good 9.0 for both of them. Both of them are definitely hits rather than misses. So yeah, just wanted to give a little afterthought there. So there you go. And it's Hex approved, by the way.